there, art nerds. So we are now past Black Friday week. We're past Cyber Monday. And while not everything I've ordered has come in, most of what I've ordered has come in. And I kind of wanted to show you guys what I purchased and also kind of talk about my strategy for purchasing art supplies for the most part here on out. We're going to start with what I know you guys want to see. We're going to start by talking about the art supplies themselves. So I hit 3 places for this: Amazon, Jerry's Artarama, and also my Michael's in person. I was there for other reasons. They restocked their art books, and since I'm in the middle of my Easily Influenced series and they supposedly had a sale going on, I thought I would try to take advantage of that. We're going to start with Jerry's Artarama. I only purchased a couple of things from them. One of them is the Turner Watercolor Japanesque set. I've had my eye on this set for a little while. I've been interested in this set for a while, and I was kind of just waiting for the price to come down. So for Black Friday, it was around $29. Not too bad a price for Turner, especially because I can't go to Jerry's in person anymore and pick up open stock tubes. Now, I've talked about Turner here on the channel in the past, and in general, Turner is not such a good fit for me. It's a Japanese brand of watercolors that are in general a little bit more opaque than what I would like. I think they definitely have their place, but in general, I like really translucent watercolors. However, those properties actually work really well for Japanese style or for Gensai style or for more traditional colors, kind of like the Holbein Iridori line. So I thought this would work really well with this particular set, and I look forward to sharing it with you guys. Also, watercolor paper, particularly cotton rag watercolor paper, has gotten really expensive. So I'm always on the lookout for good brands, good prices, good deals, especially because I do a lot of like unboxing swatches, and I use the Blick cotton rag for that, and that can get that can get very pricey. So I decided I would try the New York Central Art Supply watercolor paper. This is a Jerry's brand. I believe Might Not Jerry has talked about it somewhat. And okay, I got kind of influenced. So, seeing it somewhat on sale for Black Friday, I was trying to hit free shipping. I figured I would give it a try. So this is what I got from Jerry's. The Michael's lineup is also pretty short, just a couple of books. We have 15-minute watercolor masterpieces, which I will be talking about later on. And we have wilderness watercolor landscapes. And I believe I saw both of these recommended in another watercolor artist, like watercolor books that they would recommend. So I figured I would give both of these a shot, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit more later on. I want to see who published these because they have that Page Street look. Yep, they're about the same size. They both have the matte cover stock. This one has seen slightly better days, and I wasn't able to get any kind of a discount despite the fact that it's looked kind of chewed up before. So if you're interested, if you guys like my watercolor book reviews, my art book reviews, keep an eye out for these. I will be reviewing them at some point. So now for the big stack from Amazon, and I am actually also missing the Marie's Pure Single Pigment watercolors. Those haven't come in yet. They may take a while. Amazon has gotten, they'll promise 2-day shipping and it'll turn into a month of waiting for the product. So, I figured I wasn't going to just sit around and hold all these things and wait for that to come in. So we'll just talk about that later on. But I picked up a couple of books, Special Effects Lettering and Calligraphy by Grace Frozen. I've been following her work on Instagram and on Threads, and her art is super cute. And my lettering is super bad. So I thought this could be kind of a fun one to talk about as part of Easily Influenced. This has been living in my cart for years now. I picked up the first Iraville art book. The second one is actually out and available now. That was $50. I am not spending $50 on an art book. I'm just not. I just can't afford to do that. So this one was about half the price, and there was also a little bit of a Prime Day saving. Not Prime, I keep wanting to say Prime Day. We have all these different money saving days over the year. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever. A little bit of a deal, not too great, but since I also ordered their Mossery kit, also on a Black Friday, Cyber, whatever deal, I figured it'd be good to have the art book to kind of compare it to. And then, so I was sick with COVID from like the middle week, like right after I did Fall Fest. I didn't get it at Fall Fest. I got it at a wedding. I was sick with COVID from like that second weekend of the month until after Thanksgiving. So I didn't have the energy or the ability to do like a lot of deal shopping to share on my own community tab. So I really appreciate the Frugal Crafter sharing some deals, because some of these things were things that they've been living in my basket for a while. I've been keeping an eye on them, waiting for Honey to let me know when they've dropped. And Honey didn't let me know. Thank you, Honey. I don't appreciate that. You're supposed to email me. You're supposed to have my back. But the Frugal Crafter did. So we have Art Whale Artist watercolors. These are supposedly superior tube watercolors. So I'm looking forward to being able to try these out for you guys. I just wrapped up my Supervision tube watercolor review. So, you know, finishing some things out. It's pretty cool. We also have the Mei Liang watercolor set. These are the tubes of Mei Liang watercolors. And you guys know I really like the regular Mei Liang watercolors. And what I was kind of thinking I might do after I review these is this might allow an affordable way for me to do parent and kid watercolor kits. So that was kind of what I'm thinking with this, because one of the things that I've noticed is that people are sometimes more interested in buying art supplies from me than buying my art. So art kits seems like a good direction for that to go in. And I wanted to offer a very affordable, but also very serviceable student grade watercolor in some of those kits, just to kind of help bring the price down, because right now my Paint Your State kits are $25 and I really can't afford to go lower than that with those, because they're using decent brushes and they're using nice watercolors and they have like video and written tutorials and they're using cotton rag paper, and people really bulk at that price point. So I was thinking it would be really fun to do some of my line arts as pre-printed watercolor kits, and maybe include like a Sakura Pigma and include like a mini palette of student grade watercolors that people could paint along. So I wanted to see if these would be a good fit for that. And if that sounds like something you would be interested in purchasing, let me know down in the comments below that you'd be interested. We also finally got to pick up some Paul Rubens. These are their newer tube watercolors that are supposed to be higher quality, more professional quality than their old tube watercolors. I really like their tube watercolors. So if these are supposed to be even better than the tubes, I can't imagine like how good these are going to be. So I'm excited about these. And these are the Paul Rubens Gensai style. The Gucci, I'm so sorry, my pronunciation is atrocious, but I'd kind of held off on getting these because they're metallics, and believe it or not, I'm not super into metallics. I like watercolor that scan well for reproduction, and metallics are good for like originals, they're good for commissions, they're good for like when you're gonna have the or adding accents to prints, but they're not so great for like scanning it, in my experience. But the deal was pretty dang good, and I couldn't resist. And then finally, I also picked up a Himi gouache pad. I kind of wanted to see how this would compare to like watercolor paper, mixed media paper, that kind of thing. And it also gives me their brand of paper to swatch their gouache on. So I thought that might be a little bit more fair in terms of reviewing Himi stuff, because I historically have not really liked Himi art supplies. Let's talk about all of this. So generally, when it comes to buying art supplies, I am looking for a deal. I'm not looking to be super cheap. I like reviewing high quality or decent quality art supplies. I hate reviewing things that are like cheap and bad. So typically what I will do is I'll kind of do my browsing both on AliExpress and on Amazon, and things will live in my cart for months, sometimes a year, while I wait for the price to come down, or I wait for like a super sale day, or I wait for coupons, or I wait for a better deal. And I use a few services to kind of help me with price tracking. We don't have any kind of a sponsorship. This is just stuff that either Joseph has told me about or I've discovered over the years. I use a Honey extension, both in my browser because it'll give me like retail codes, things like that. But also it is like plugged into my Amazon, so it'll track the prices, and it is supposed to email me when something is historically low. Now, with a lot of these out-of-country art supplies, they will start really inexpensive and then crank up the price or crank down the quality or both. So with some of these things, you're never going to see it as cheap as when it first got on Amazon. And I feel like that's a little bit predatory as a reviewer. I don't really like that. I don't like that something I fell in love with at one price is now double the price. But I use Honey to kind of help me keep track of these things. I also, in general, try to only use funds from my Patreon when buying art supplies to review. Sometimes I fudge and I use my own funds. I use money earned from teaching, or money earned from shop sales, or money earned from commissions. Sometimes I will use additional funds to buy things, but typically I'm trying to use just funds from Patreon to buy the things that I review. Otherwise, it's not sustainable for me. I don't really make money doing YouTube, like maybe $30 a month. And I don't really make money doing affiliate links, like maybe $9 a month. So I enjoy doing this. I enjoy sharing my thoughts with you guys. I really like getting to play with art supplies, but I'm trying to keep it sustainable for me financially. So typically that means I'm using just Patreon funds. So, things will live in my cart until I have the money to buy them, or until a new month rolls around and I can order more things. And art supplies are getting really expensive. So it kind of reduces what I'm able to review and what I'm able to do here on the channel. I'm also doing a lot of reviews that are taking weeks of work. Whether it is the Easily Influenced series where I am ordering things and having to wait for them to come in, reading the books and taking notes, which usually takes about a week and a half, reviewing the thing for you guys, maybe field testing the thing for you guys. And then those are such big, long videos that they take forever for me to edit. So those take about 2 weeks plus of work. Sometimes it can take a week of editing in and of itself for a single Easily Influenced video. And then with those, I actually I'm choosing not to release them as early access on Patreon for a few reasons. So basically, I'm just holding on to these videos that I've worked really hard on and not able to share them to Patreon, and then releasing them as premieres. So while I really like doing that series, that's an aspect of the series that I don't like because I still owe my patrons early access content, which means I have to work extra hard to be able to both produce Easily Influenced content and then also produce, videos for early access or for backer exclusive. So the other problem is with a lot of my watercolor reviews, particularly professional grade, I can't actually tell how I feel about it from just the unbox and swatch. I usually have to do a watercolor painting as well, and that takes an additional week, and that is also a lot of extra editing and a lot of extra work. So where I'm going with this is like everything is just taking a lot longer, taking a lot slower. And since I got sick with COVID, I'm still exhausted. I still don't have like a lot of energy. Perfect time for this. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to accrue a lot of the art supplies and books that I need for future reviews later on in the year while they're at a lower price point. I sort of feel like this is not based on, hard fact. I don't have receipts for this. I sort of feel like Amazon is the prices increase in the months before Black Friday so that they can give you a better deal on Black Friday. So I haven't really been buying as many just like art supplies to review for you guys. I've been doing a lot of the like easily influenced stuff, which means I'm buying from like those individual artist shops or from their Etsy's, or I'm buying it at Michael's, or, you know, like I would like to say I am financially supporting more small businesses by doing this, but realistically, a lot of these artists are working with large publishers. So while me buying their book does support them, it tells their publisher like, hey, look, there's a demand for this book, and they see some money from that. Until they've earned out their advance, they're not going to be earning any royalties. So I don't actually know how much like legitimate support I am providing when I buy these books. But hopefully you guys enjoy them, and hopefully like what I saw in the Jenna Rainey review is like a lot of people bought her book and then immediately returned it, passed it on to the next reader because it wasn't useful for them. Like, I'm getting the gist that with a lot of these art books, they are just not as helpful as people thought they would be. So I sincerely hope me reading them, reviewing them, flipping through them for you guys helps you buy the books that will make you really happy, that'll be useful for you, that you can recommend to other people, rather than spending a lot of money on watercolor books that just like sit on your shelf or get donated and that you don't like and they leave a bad taste in your mouth. Because in the end, I want to help you guys, I want to foster and appreciate for art, particularly cartoony and comic art, you know, girl gotta represent. I also want to encourage anyone who is interested in art to make art. And I feel the way to do that is good art supplies that are affordable and good art instruction that's affordable and accessible. So if people are spending their money on books that they don't like, that leave a bad taste in their mouth, that leave them unprepared to handle watercolor, then that's not in service of my goal of making art more accessible. So that's kind of like my thought process for a lot of these reviews. But also, like, as an artist, I should be reading these books. I should be familiar with what these books are talking about. I'm interested in releasing my own watercolor book. I should know what's on the market and what's being done well and what's being done poorly so I can fill in those gaps. And my library doesn't have these books. My Barnes & Noble doesn't have these books. I was surprised my Michael's finally had some of these books in stock after, you know, a year of not having anything but coloring books out. So it kind of serves a dual purpose. And so I have a bunch of professional grade watercolors that I amassed the last time there was a big sale. And I'm still working my way through those. But, you know, I do enjoy reviewing like Chinese watercolors, things that are not as, you know, commonly available. And Amazon makes a lot of these things more accessible and more available, but it's still fun to review things that were like originally from AliExpress or from a brand that we don't see in our local brick and mortar art supply store. That's another thing. I still have not been to David's in a while, so who knows what I will end up picking up while I'm at David's Art Center. But basically, I wait for like these big sale days, and then I pick up a bunch of the stuff that's been in my cart for a while, or it's been on my to review list for a while. Just hoping to save a little bit of money here and there rather than like buying them individually and paying full price for them. So another thing is I would kind of like to move out of doing haul content. I don't do a lot of it. It kind of icks me out, to be honest, but like, it's also very expensive to do and it's just not sustainable. But I will say haul content is easy. This video is going to take me 30 minutes to record. It's going to take me an hour to edit. It's going to take me 15 minutes to render. As compared to a review, which takes me a while to research, and it takes me a while to unbox and swatch. And it takes me a while to do the field test, and the field test itself has to be individually rendered out and time-lapsed so that it'll fit into like a shorter time frame, an hour-long, 2-hour-long video. So this video will take me like a day to produce, whereas an easily influenced takes about 3 weeks to produce, and an unbox and swatch, depending. If I'm working with tube watercolors, they got to dry out for a week. So they're just sitting there for a week without me touching them so I can make sure that they reconstitute from half pans. So like this kind of haul content is so much easier than the reviews. It's so much easier than the tutorials. That's why it's tempting to do it, but it's not sustainable for me as a small business, as a individual who's a small YouTube channel. It is not affordable. It is not something I want to like show you guys as like, look, we should aspire to this. Like it is ridiculous mass consumption. And the only reason I still justify doing this is I do enjoy doing it as a hobby. I am a nosy person. I like seeing, you know, what's good and what's bad, and I like getting to talk about them. But also because many of you guys have told me that you really value my reviews. You know that I'm always honest with you guys. You understand like my background and my biases, and it allows you to make good choices for you. One of the nicest compliments I received recently is a friend is getting into watercolor, and I was like, well, I hope I used my watercolor influence responsibly and I didn't lead you astray. And she was like, no, everything was basically like you described it. Like, yes, that is my goal, to review things in a way that if you buy something that I like, you either, maybe you don't like it. We don't all have to like the same things, but like you can see where I was coming from. Like it wasn't for you, but you don't feel like you were lied to, or it is as described, you knew what you were getting into and you're happy with your purchase. That's my goals. I love when I can do that for people. I legitimately do not hear that enough. People will tell me during premieres and during live streams, which thank you guys so much. I do appreciate that. But with Sjogren's and now dealing with the repercussions of COVID, I don't necessarily have the energy for the live streams and for premieres. In fact, just recording this, I'm getting tired and I'm going to have to go lay down for a little bit. So like if something I do is genuinely helpful to you, if I have influenced or de-influenced you, please tag me. Please talk to other people about it. Please like be real. And like, if I helped you, say so. I'm not looking to have like the level of influence that Christy Rice or Jenna Rainey or Omar Wynn has. That's not my goal. That's not my game. But like, it's nice to know that when I did something, it was genuinely helpful to other people, right? I am a human and I want to be a human in the community. And often I'm in like a weird little corner over there playing with my pet rat. You know what I mean? Like I don't get to feel like I'm part of the larger community. And, you know, like I accept that for the most part, but sometimes it's nice to hear that what I did had value and was helpful and helped you buy something that makes you genuinely happy, or bought it as a gift for someone and they genuinely like it. Like that means a lot to me. Another thing is on this channel, I used to do a lot of tutorials. I have like a decade's worth almost of tutorials. And historically, my tutorials just don't do as well as my reviews. I like doing tutorials. I like teaching. I like sharing my knowledge, but it is intensely discouraging to spend a week creating a how to do XYZ, the kawaii art tutorial, which was done for a class. It's really discouraging to do all that prep and all that recording, and it gets like 200 views. Whereas like my reviews are starting to finally break that 1K in 1 week mark. Thank you, by the way. But like, so if you like tutorials from me, I like doing tutorials for you guys. I like teaching. I like sharing that knowledge, but like they need to do a little bit better. And I would love it if you help me out by sharing them, by recommending them, by pinning them on Pinterest, by sharing them on Tumblr, by sharing them on Threads, like anywhere you're part of an art community or you know other artists. If you find one of my tutorials to be helpful, let them know. And I know I have some teachers who watch my content and they like share it with their class. I'm going to ask this again. Please, if you're sharing my stuff to a class full of students, take a moment and leave a comment saying like, hey, my class really liked this, because that's meaningful to me. I'm only going to get like one view from that. But if you let me know, then like my brain will do the mental math and add like 15 or 25, you know? And that's just meaningful to me. Like, I don't really care what YouTube as a platform thinks of me. I don't really care what Instagram as a platform thinks of me. I do want to be employable. I do want to sell, commissions and art. And I do want my art supply reviews to help people. But like, my end goal is not, you know, I'm going to make a living from YouTube. Like that's never going to, I've done this for almost 10 years now. That's like never going to happen for me. I don't care about that. What I care about is being a valuable human who is contributing to a community that I care about and who is having a positive effect on other people. So if you like the tutorials, if you want more tutorials, if you want me to take the time to record those, whether it's drawing, watercolor, inking, markers, I have to hear back from you. I need to know about that. And that's something that I definitely will share as early access over on my Patreon. In fact, when I was teaching in-person classes more, when I had the energy to teach in-person classes more, I would generate tutorials for YouTube based around what I was teaching in my classes and then share the class materials to my patrons. So like when I'm working, even though I'm busier and it's harder for me to do these things, me working generates benefits for you guys. So like I definitely do need that positive word of mouth. I definitely do need people willing to vouch for me. So, we ended up talking about a lot of things. I would have done this as like a face-to-face video, but it is disgustingly gross outside. Louisiana I can only describe it as like a wet dish sponge outside. Like it's like 70. It is super humid. The air is really still. It's just gross outside. Like nobody wants to sit outside in that. And that's, you know, I like doing the face-to-face videos outside when I can. So I would have loved to talk to you guys face-to-face and shown you guys what I picked up and what you can look forward to on this channel. But the weather is just not permitting, and I'm not super sure my health is currently permitting either. Keep me in your thoughts and prayers, y'all. So what are you guys the most looking forward to in this stash of watercolors and art books? What do you guys want to see from me? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to a review? If things go well, all of the paints will be not just an unbox and swatch, but also an unbox and swatch and a field test. So they are going to take a little bit longer to come out, but hopefully they'll be more enjoyable and provide you guys with more like salient painting information about these paints. Because for a lot of these things, you only start to discover issues. Like everything swatch is great. You only start to discover it's a real trash product. I'm probably going to get some hate for saying this. It's a real trash product that you see all the red flags just in the unbox and swatch. Like that's a bad watercolor in my opinion. The harder ones, like they swatch really well and you're kind of excited about them, and then you go to paint with them and everything falls apart. So that's why it's important for me to be able to include the field tests when I can, but they are more expensive and they are more time consuming and they are just like more laborious in general. So they're a little bit harder to do, so show them some love. And if you guys like the tutorials that I share here on the channel, show them some big ups, whether it's a start to finish tutorial or it's like a comic vlog, or it's me showing you guys how to make watercolor ornaments. Like if you enjoy it, show me the big ups, show me the big love. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I am probably not going to be buying any art supply. I say that. I will probably continue to buy from small makers. I will probably continue to shop at my local brick and mortar, but I don't plan on doing any big online art supply shopping for a good long while. I've pretty much topped up the reserves. I've gotten the deals that I was looking to get, and I've got plenty to talk about here on the channel for a while. So I am probably not going to be doing any like Amazon haul videos or anything like that. I also want to tangent a little bitty bit because I don't know if you guys know, but I'm on TikTok. I've been on TikTok for like 3-4 years now. And I am noticing like the real push for TikTok shop. And I'm also noticing a lot of people really recommending art supplies that I had like really bad experiences with, like the Grabby/Gravy watercolors, and like swearing they're the best watercolors ever. And like, I don't know, I haven't lived their experiences. Maybe they had a better experience than me. But I promise you guys, I don't actually do a lot of reviews on TikTok because that just didn't do well for me. I promise you guys, I'm not going to be shilling using the TikTok shop. I'm not going to be, if I use it, it's going to be for my own products. Like I promise I'm not going to try to chase that coin using the TikTok shop, saying that I love things that I actually hated. You're not going to hear, unless I like went back and revised my opinion on an art supply, you're not going to hear me do a heel turn over on TikTok where I'm like, oh, I love this. I actually do very, very few sent care of videos. So there's no real reason for me to do that. And even when I do accept products that are sent care of, I always let them know in my communication that like it's going to be an honest review. It's going to be my own opinions. I am going to share that the product was sent to me care of, because I do realize that can bias people when they didn't spend that money, when they're not out that cash. You know, it can kind of change how you feel about an art supply. So like, you guys are not going to see me, if you follow my TikTok, it's mostly like short tutorials, short drawing tutorials, short snippets of like what I'm working on. It's not really art supply review stuff over there. I promise I'm not gonna like try to sell you other people's stuff constantly. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with you having a TikTok and like selling your stickers or showing your manufacturing process, like using it as a small business to generate business. Totally fine. I follow a lot of accounts like that. I do a little of that myself, but like I don't intend to start shilling for grabby over on TikTok, if that makes sense. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope I've given you some reviews to look forward to. Hopefully I spent the money so you don't have to. I hope you guys had, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you don't, I hope you had a safe and happy Thursday. And for the rest of this winter holiday season, regardless of your religion, your belief system, what you celebrate, I wish the absolute very best for you. I hope you are safe, warm, and happy, surrounded by people and animals that you love. I wish you all of the best things, and may 2024 be a better year than 2023, because 2023 started out strong and got real garbagey real quick. So, bye guys!